Okay, in this video I'm going to go over the basic functions of how to use Genie Voice Command. So, after you've installed Genie Voice Command and you've started up Maya for the first time, you will notice a new menu at the very top of your Maya called Voice Control. If you're using a full version of Maya or a student version of Maya, to start Genie Voice Command, all you have to do is click on the menu and click Activate Voice Command. I'm using Maya Lite, so I can't use that function because Maya LT limits certain mail scripts from functioning. And one of them is the one that would start the Genie Voice Command. As you can see, it comes down here. Command is not supported by Maya LT. So, if you have Maya LT, it's no big deal. All you have to do is go to your All Programs and go to the folder that you named for Genie Voice Command, and click on it. And then you have two files inside, one to uninstall Genie Voice Command and one to activate Genie Voice Command.
Okay, Voice Control Ready for Maya. Created by Heather McCabe. I am listening.
Yes, I am Heather McCabe. Sometimes it doesn't pronounce names very well, the program. Anyway, so here's the interface for Genie Voice Command, and I'll go over it really quick. You can put the program into sleep mode so that if you need to answer a phone call or something like that, the program won't be listening to you all the time. So you can click that button, or you can simply say the word sleep.
Now sleeping. Say wake for me to start listening.
Alright, and then once in the sleep mode, you can
now awake.
Or you can say the word wake to have the program wake back up. Okay, or you could click the button wake. The program starts off in open microphone mode, and in open microphone mode, the program is constantly listening and trying to figure out if you actually said a command. How the program knows where a command starts and stops is from silence. There has to be a slight bit of silence or pause before you say the command, and a slight pause afterwards before you say the next command. Of course, if you've not been saying anything, you could just say the command. You know, if you've just been working away and you just want to save the file or something, you just say save. You don't have to pause, you can just say save. But that's how the program knows where the beginning and end of an individual command is. Okay, so, which is why I can say the word sleep in the middle of a command, because the command for sleep is, it has to have a little bit of pause before the word sleep and a little bit of pause afterwards. So if I were to say the word sleep, sleep.
Now sleeping. Say wake for me to start listening.
Or if I were to say the word wake by itself.
Now awake.
It can be very, like I said, the pause just has to be very, very small. As you can see, it even got that word just from the little bit of pause in between the words. So the shorter the pause in between the words, the faster the program can do the different commands. Okay, so that's open microphone mode. If you're working in a noisier environment and you don't really want the program to be trying to do commands all the time, you can click on toggle mode.
Toggle mode now active.
Okay, and now a toggle mode, it says, listening mode toggle, and it's kind of like working at like a radio, a CB radio or shortwave radio, where you have to hold down the mic button, in order to transmit. It's sort of the same sort of thing. You can hold down either Shift key, or either Alt key, or the middle mouse button, or the left mouse button, in order to basically have the command then listen to you. You really can start to say the command before you hold down the button, but you have to hold down the button, or the Shift or Alt or left or right mouse button, before you finish saying the command, which actually can make things work faster. The Shift key and the Alt key, you can just hold down it. So if you want to say several commands in a row, you can just hold down. I would recommend the Alt key. If you're using Maya 2017, Maya 2017 doesn't like people holding down the Shift key. All older versions of Maya 2016 and older, you can hold down the Shift key just fine, and it won't bother it. They've made a lot of changes in Maya 2017, which I'm not particularly happy with because it makes my job harder to update the program and to try to make it work as well in all versions of Maya. Okay, so how do you say command? You would simply, you can either hold down the key first, say the command. You will hear a beeping, a slight one beep noise or tone when the program has recognized a command. So you'll know that it heard a command. And then it will execute the command. If you're going to use the mouse button, the left or the middle mouse button or the right mouse button, you have to actually let go of the button immediately after you hear, as soon as you hear the beep that indicates that the program has heard a command. If you don't let go of it, it won't do the command. And you only have a very limited time after the beep before you've missed your chance. It's a short period of time so that you can say commands quickly, but it would, like I said, but so it gives you an option. You can either use a Shift key or an Alt key. I recommend the Alt key, or the middle mouse button or the right mouse button. Also, if you are in open microphone mode and somebody walks into your office and you just need to keep the program from trying to do a command as it listens to you talking to somebody else, you can just hold down the right or left mouse button. I would hold down the right mouse button. And that's while you're in open microphone mode. That will keep the program from trying to execute any commands that it thinks it hears while you're talking to somebody. You have to remember that the microphone hears everything. So just because you're answering somebody, the computer doesn't know that. All it knows is it's hearing your voice coming through the microphone. Okay, so let's go into open microphone mode, and I will give you a little bit. Well, let's see. Let's first go to Maya. Okay. For older versions of Maya 2016 and older, it doesn't really matter much what window has focus. Right now, the main viewport area has focus, and you can tell because it has this little white thing around it, little white outline around it. That indicates that that viewport has focus. If you were in a UV editor, if you were in a UV editor, where is it? UV editor. Where is it? There it is. They had to move it. They just had to move it. It used to be just Windows UV editor. Okay, now UV editor has focus instead of the main viewport. On many commands, it will still work just fine, even with 2017. But 2017 is a little bit more touchy, so if you need to do something, and say you've moved this UV editor over to another window so that you could edit on it, and then say you then need to come back to the main window to get focus on the main window. Say in the UV editor you had, well, let me start something. Let me get something for you. Let's see, let's pick that. Okay. Say in the UV editor you had selected some vertices through the UV editor. Okay. And now you need to get the focus back onto the main viewport window to do something. Well, as you notice, I clicked in here and it made it. One way to get the focus back, even when it's been taken away from because you've done something in the UV editor, is to click up in this blank area. You know, see how next to panels it's all blank, and next to here RGB gamma. This blank area here you can click on, and you will not lose your selection, and you'll get the focus back onto here. Most of the time you won't have to do that, but once in a while if you find a command to simply, you're saying the command over and over again and it's not doing it, one, make sure you're not in sleep mode, and then the other thing is to make sure that the main viewport has focus. Okay, and you probably heard that beep because I happen to be holding down the Alt key when I was talking, and we're in toggle mode. Let's see, object. See, now we went into object mode. I was holding down the Alt key. I said the word object, which makes us go into object mode, and you heard a beep indicating it heard something. So I could say wireframe, shaded, wireframe unshaded, wireframe unshaded, hide grid, flat shade all, smooth shade all, show grid, channel box, freeze transformation, delete history. So there you go. So that's with toggle mode. So if you're working in a noisier environment, or you just don't feel like having the program listening to you all the time, you can start Genie Voice Command, and then just, like I said, just hold down the Alt key and stuff when you feel like it. Okay, so let's go into open microphone mode. So you just come back over here, and I did the old school Alt tab. Those of you who've been using Windows for a very long time, like I have, old school, you might remember Alt tab to switch back and forth between programs, or you can hold down that. Okay, so I'm going to go in open microphone mode, and I'm going to do a quick demonstration. Here we go.
Open microphone now active and listening.
New scene. Don't save. Create polygon cube. Freeze transformation. Delete history. Bevel. Wireframe unshaded. Delete history. Face. Hide grid. Extrude. Convert to edge. Bevel. Attribute editor. Enter. To edge loop, soften edge, vertex, expand, convert to contained edges, soften edge, vertex, expand, convert to contained edges, soften edge, object, channel box, delete history, show grid, front, right side, left, back, bottom, top, reset, orthographic view, reset, render view, preferences, plugin manager, script editor, clear script editor history, close script editor, outliner, close outliner,
Toggle mode now active.
Okay, so you saw just how quickly you can do things. Some of the things you saw me do were what I call, let's see, some commands are toggle commands, like X-ray. You say X-ray once and it turns X-ray on if it was off. And you say it again and it will turn it off, or it will turn it on. Just depends on if you were in X-ray mode to start with. So X-ray is like a toggle mode. Let's see. So some things are toggle mode, some things aren't. Let's see. Like wireframe unshaded, that's a toggle mode. Join X-ray, that's a toggle mode. Most of these are toggle modes. You just say them once and it turns it on. Say it again, it turns it off. These up here are not necessarily toggle mode because they're not toggles. So, see, X-ray is toggle on, toggle off. So that's a toggle command. These are not toggle commands. You're selecting a particular command. You can't click it once and click it twice and you won't get it. I guess that's probably indicated by these being round and these being check marks. Check boxes. Check boxes are toggle commands. Okay. You also probably noticed that when I was in vertex mode, before I selected the last vertex, I actually said the word expand. You can actually, because there's a slight half a second delay between the time you say a command and the time it's actually performed, executed by Genie Voice Command, you can actually say a command, you can anticipate and say the command before you've actually selected or done whatever, finished doing whatever you were doing. That way you gain speed. You can actually speed things up quite a bit. Yes, you're only gaining a half a second, but it really gets you into the mindset of thinking one step ahead and doing speed. If you are not doing, not the drug speed, but doing things in a speedy manner, so that, so it gets you thinking ahead. I'm almost ready. I'm going to say, I'm going to say the command right before I select it. And you don't have to wait for a command to finish before you say the next command. So if you know you're going to be saying a series of commands, say like delete history, save, or delete history, save. There was a slight pause. Delete history, save. That would delete the history of the object, and that would save your file. Now, if your file didn't have a name, if you haven't saved it yet, the save dialog would open up like normal, and you'd give it a name, and you would give it a name. And you could either type in the name and say enter, because enter, when you say the word enter, it's the same as pressing the enter key just above the shift key on the right hand side of the keyboard, not the enter on the number pad. A lot of people don't know that the enter key on the number pad is kind of a temporary enter. That's why you can type in multiple values if you're going to be trying it. Like you say 3, and you say, no, that's too big. 2, no, how about 0.5? No, that's not good enough. And that's, so you didn't have to enter it multiple times. That's the number pad enter. But if you actually hit the shift key, the enter above the right shift key, like I'm going to do now, it sets the number permanently. Or not permanently, but you know what I mean. You can't just type in a number, another number right away and have it be entered here. So when you say enter, it's the kind of enter when you press the enter key above the shift key. And so, and that's useful on many tools like CD curve tool. As you finish your curve, you say enter, and it's the same as hitting the enter key. Okay, so in another video I went over why you say delete object instead of just delete. And so it's because you don't want to accidentally say the word delete. You know, somebody comes in and asks you a question, and you say in your sentence the word delete. If there's the slightest bit of pause before the word and the slightest bit of pause afterwards, and it doesn't take much, you know, we have to keep, I wanted to keep that period of silence very short so that you can give it as many commands as quickly as you can for speed. I didn't want people to accidentally say the word delete in a sentence and then accidentally lose all their work, or what they were working on. Yes, you can always say undo to undo the last thing you did. So you can probably always get it back, but, you know, I didn't want people to freak out when they accidentally deleted something. So it's delete object. No matter what it is, if you're deleting something in the outliner, it's a delete. You select it in the outliner and you say delete object. Edges, deleting edge, is slightly different because there's an actual function in Maya for deleting edges. And so the command is delete edge or delete edge vertex. Either one will work. I programmed them both in there, delete edge and delete edge vertex, so that it would know that's the command that you're supposed to be doing. Okay. I'm going to be making another video that goes over a lot of the different exceptions. I try to use the most commonly used commands to be as short as possible because I figure you're going to be using them a lot. And so you can say new scene, or I'm sorry, yeah, say new scene, new scene, new scene. You can say open. You have to say new scene to make a new scene. That one I really didn't think shortening it to just new would be very useful. But you can just say open to open up a new file instead of open scene. And you can say open scene if you're used to saying it or thinking about that command as open scene. You can also just say the word save instead of save scene. You can say save scene, but you can also just say save, which is very good because you can sit there and say save, save, save every few seconds or every 30 seconds or a minute without even thinking about it. Just say save, and it's boom, it happens. Like I said, as long as the file has been saved and has a name, it's just boom, it happens. You know, you'll notice the little red thing down here. You know, we'll go meaning it saved it. You can say incremental save instead of incremental and save. You can just say, you know, to get that if you want to save it incrementally. To get any option, as you notice, these little boxes on each one of these labels in the menu represent an option, so that this command has an option. So to get the options for this, it's export all options. Export all options. You want to say it in a smooth one sentence, no pause before options. Otherwise, it will think those are two separate commands. So yeah, it's export all options, import options. You know, instead of just import. Let's see. On these, you can say, you know, close channel box, and it will close the channel box. You can say close modeling toolkit, and it will actually close. You can say close attribute editor, and it closes it. To open the channel box, you just say channel box. To open the modeling toolkit, you just say modeling toolkit. Attribute editor, you just say attribute editor. Let's see. I'm trying to think. You can switch between workspaces by just saying, you know, Maya Classic or Classic Maya. I did it both ways because I often think I haven't been using 2017 very much, and for some reason I got it stuck in my head that this is Classic Maya instead of Maya Classic. So you can say Maya Classic or Classic Maya, and it will switch to this workspace. You can say Modeling Standard, switch to Modeling Standard, Modeling Expert, to switch to Expert. Now these are single words. Now there's other functions and commands that are using some of these words. So these other ones, they're all workspace sculpting, workspace UV editing, workspace rigging, workspace animation. You can even say workspace Maya Classic or Workspace Modeling Standard, or Workspace Modeling Expert. It's whatever you become most comfortable with. My Classic, Modeling, and Modeling Standard and Modeling Expert, I figured those were 2 words already, and there's really no other equivalent wording in any other the other menus. The video that I'm going to make that's going to show you the exceptions to the rules that I'm showing you tonight. You know, one of the reasons there's exceptions is that often there are Autodesk and or Alias, the company that made Maya and created Maya originally, sometimes use the same verbiage or labels in different menus. Like here's Edit Mesh, right? Here's a great example and one of the exceptions. And then I'll go. You have extrude here, and you also have extrude here, but they are 2 very different functions. One is for extruding polygons, faces, and edges.
April 30th, 2017.
I thought I asked what was the date. Let me hold on. I'm going to shut down Genie Voice Command since I'm talking a lot. Okay. So there are 2 totally different commands. There are 2 totally different global commands between extrude and extrude polygons, or extrude for surfaces. So I figured, and I might be wrong, and I'm sorry if I'm insulting anybody, I figured more people work in polygons than NURBS, or surfaces. That more people work in polygons. I could be very mistaken, and I don't mean to be insulting anybody. But I had to make a choice. I figured since more people were probably working in polygons, I'd make it, when you extrude something on a polygon, it's just one word, extrude. For surfaces, it's surfaces extrude. So it's the name of the menu this is in, extrude. I also made it so that it's surface, singular, extrude, because I figured some people, if they were only extruding a single surface, might grammatically say surface extrude, because they're extruding only one surface. So you can say it either way, surfaces extrude or surface extrude. And then again, to open up the options, it's surface extrude options, surfaces extrude options with the plural. So either surfaces with the plural extrude options or surface extrude options. And that's really how you really get over 90% of the wording for a command is going to be whatever it is labeled or the text is in the menus. Now in all the main menus, I did go into all the sub-menus and got these. As far as options were concerned, if you open up an options, there are no voice commands for inside here. So you're going to have to select these things manually. But as far as all these are all in there. And I tried to shorten them as much as possible, which is BiRail 1, BiRail 2, BiRail 3, or you could say BiRail 1 tool. And how can you find out, well, what is the exact commands? Glad I asked. So you go into voice control, and you come here to command search. Okay, and now these are all the over 5,000 commands. Yeah, here we go, and all the way down the bottom. That's over 5,000 commands. Those are all the commands. So say I want to find out, well, how do I say BiRail? Or you couldn't remember where BiRail was, and you're not sure what the wording is, and you couldn't remember where is it located. Well, you can just come in here, and you come down to this bottom field where you can enter. I would suggest entering a single word instead of multiple words, because the more words you add to it, the more chances that you're not going to get your command that you're looking for. So try to think of the most important word in the command that you're trying to find and just type that in. So BiRail. Okay, so then I just hit enter, and here are all the BiRail commands. So BiRail 1 is the same as BiRail 1 tool. I just tried to shorten it so that it's less of a mouthful, you know, and especially less of a mouthful when you're trying to add the word options to the end. So it's BiRail 1 options. And options is always plural. It will probably open if you say BiRail option. The program's pretty good at not being too overly picky if you don't put an S on the end of things. Sometimes it is very picky, and layers, between layer and layers, it does recognize that. So say options with the plural. Just say options with the plural and you'll always be safe, because all options have always an S on the end. Okay, so that's how you use the command search if you're looking for something. You could say, what about booleans? Oops. Oh, no booleans. How about boolean? There we go. Okay, so here's boolean, and here's all the options and all the different verbal commands for booleans. Okay. You can also, with the booleans, you can just say different, different options. Here's difference tool options. Difference is the same as when using the difference tool. When you're actually doing the boolean and you have two objects selected, just say difference, and it will perform the boolean for difference. Same with intersection. You just say intersection. Select two objects and say intersection. Or union. Select two objects and say union. Like I said, I try to keep the things that people use the most down to as fewer words as possible. So, and of course, yes, it's difference options if you want difference options, union options if you want union options. Let's see, union options, union tool and union tool options. So, but you can also say polygon bool union options. Pretty sure those are the same as here. So I try to give you many different ways of saying the same thing. So, because different versions of Maya sometimes called things slightly different. So I wanted to cover as many bases as I can so that people using different versions of Maya who might be used to the way it's written in their versions of Maya that they learned on or have been using for the last few years, and then maybe just recently switched to a different version of Maya, a newer version of Maya, which things might be slightly written different. You can still say the old way that it's written in the older versions of Maya. I tried to cover and make sure they were all in there. So, just to make it as easy as possible. So that's how you use the list of voice commands, to search for a command. So the fastest way is if you know where it is in here, under what menu, just look in the menu. Oh, there it is. Boom. If you're not sure, if you haven't been using, if you're switching from Maya 2014 to all of a sudden Maya 2017, you're probably tearing your hair out because they moved a lot of stuff around. They changed all these submenus. Yes, you can switch to different submenus simply by saying the word modeling, or the word rigging, or the word animation, or shading. Just by saying that. You do not have to switch to these different modeling sets to actually activate what's in it. say I was in modeling and I wanted to do a smooth bind, you know, or I wanted the smooth bind options. You don't have to switch to rigging and then click on to switch to rigging so that you can then get to the smooth bind options. Where is it? Bind skin. Where is smooth bind? I don't even know where it's at. Because they moved it around. So I don't even bother with it anymore. I just say smooth bind or smooth bind options. I guess bind skin is probably yeah. Smooth bind. See, it used to be called smooth bind, and they've changed the wording. You can say bind skin, or unbind skin, or delete. Detached skin is what it used to be called, but in this newer version of mine, it's called unbind skin. But you can still say detached skin and detached skin options, or you can say unbind skin options, or unbind skin. Newer people, newer to Maya, who are just learning on Maya 2017, they're going to know it by this terminology that they're using in the menus. And so, let's see. So those are the basics. You know, you don't have to switch to rigging, say rigging, and then to be able to smooth bind something, or to bind skin. You know, you could just say bind skin even if you're in the modeling. You don't have to switch back and forth. Let's see, you can say full screen, and you go into a nice full screen mode, which is very handy. And then you say exit full screen to get back. You know, you can ask at any time, you can ask what time is it. If you don't feel like looking down in the lower right hand corner of your screen, you can just say what time is it, and the program will answer you what time it is. Or you can ask what is the date, and it will also answer you from the computer's voice. I'm trying to see. Oh, also, all of these are all in there. All these commands are in there. Just like all these commands are in there, all of these commands for all of these menus are in here. Now, this is Maya Lite, which only has viewport 2.0. You could say default viewport, and that gets the classic default viewport, or high. I think it's high quality, and that will get you viewport high quality. I'll have to see what it is. I can't remember the exact name, although we can find out. Yeah, there's legacy high quality viewport, or high quality viewport. You know, so high quality viewport is the way you get the high quality, low quality display, or legacy, or low quality viewport, or there should be default viewport. We'll get you to the default. Default. Well, how about, yeah. Default lighting, default viewport, right there. Okay. Go to view. So these are all the ones that have default in it. Okay. So, and then, like I said, you also have these, so you have that, and you also have all the options in here, as well. And all these options as well. Now these underneath here are one of the exceptions, and I'll have to go over that in another video. You don't just say NURBS curves, you know, and especially down here the play blast, because as you notice, they have all the same wording in both, and so I had to make them different commands. So, but I'll go over that in another video with exceptions. Let's see. I think that's about it as far as I know. This is a 40-minute long video, but these are the basics of how to use Genie Voice Command. You probably already caught on long ago, and you most of you probably haven't lasted this long to get to this point in the video. But those who have, I applaud you. So anyway, oh, and also this is another way to find out, is just hover. These are all in there as well. All you have to do is hover your mouse over it, and you'll see down here, it will often give you at least a clue as to what they should be. You know, at least a clue, either not, you know, like this is extrude, but this is polygon extrude, you know, but this is extrude. But it will at least give you a clue as to what the actual verbiage is, and lots of times it is just the verbiage. Bevel components, merge. See, that's merge, or merge vertices. But merge works just fine. So anyway, so these gives you a clue. You can hover over here, and you can see it says for view. You could just say the words for view, and it will go into the for view layout. Or you can say, I'm sorry, there's something on my screen that's in the way. Front perspective? I think that's what it says. There's a little, I can't see it because the program I'm using to record this with has a little symbol over that little corner, just conveniently, so I can't see it. But yeah, you can find out commands. This is select, to say the word select. You can say the word select tool, but you can just say the word select to get that tool. You can just say the word lasso, or you can say you can say lasso tool. But lasso, I'm figuring, like I said, you're going to be switching between these all the time. You can just say the word lasso. You can say paint select, or paint select tool, but you can say paint select, or paint selection. And I made up a different word, because I used to call it in my head differently, brush select, because you were using a paintbrush to select. So brush select, even though is the term I gave it and what I was thinking it was called for the longest time, at least in my head. So since I'm the programmer, I get to put in my own words whenever I feel like it. But I also made sure that paint selection tool and paint select or paint selection is in there. And then of course you got move. You could say move, rotate, scale, but most likely you're so used to those hotkeys, you can just use those hotkeys. You're not forced to use the voice command when you have hotkeys that you've known and that you use so much that you basically rest your hand there and you can hit them without looking. Let's see. Oh, you can also, on a few others under the tool settings, you can say, this is one of the few basic option windows that I tried to put in more of the commands verbally. You can say camera-based selection, and that will turn on. You could say drag, and that will turn to drag. You could say marquee, that changes it to the marquee setting. You can say automatic camera-based selection, and that will turn that on. You can say highlight, come on, get out of the way. Highlight back faces, you could say that. Highlight nearest component, you can say that. You can say soft select on and soft select off. Even though that's a toggle command, I did make it soft select on and soft select off. I think you can also just say soft select and it will toggle it on and off, I believe. But you got to be, I may not be remembering correctly because I programmed over 5,000 of these, so forgive me if I can't remember exactly. But I do know it is you can say soft select on and it will turn it on, or soft select off and it will turn it off. So this is one of the few exceptions, probably the only I should say it's not the only exception. Many things in the channel box, all these menus, I also have in there. I also have in here. All these are in here as well. So they're in there and you can use them. Let's see, attribute editor, no, not really. Modeling toolkit, I think I did do modeling toolkit. Yeah, I did. So a lot of things that are in the modeling toolkit, you can simply say. And combine and smooth have always been, are in these menus over here. So if it's already in here and it's in here, you've already got it. Let's see. And something I was just thinking about. Oh, okay. So another really big important thing for you to know is if you want vertex, you're probably going to be, because you're so used to it just going like that. But you can now to say vertex. You can now to say edge, go into edge mode. You can now say, object, go in object mode. I think you can also say object mode if you really want to. But like I said, I'm trying to keep this as short as possible, so object, to go in object mode. And you can say face, and I'm pretty sure you can say multi. Whoops. You say vertex face. And if you had a NURBS, let's see, where is, oh, that's sculpting, surfaces. What surfaces was right here? Oh, here we go. Come on. It's not working. This is driving me nuts. Create NURBS sphere. Move this out of the way. There's the NURB. Okay. I don't know why this up here wasn't working. Okay. So same with NURBS. Oh, because I didn't have it on interactive, and this was showing covering it. Okay. Okay, so on these, it's, isoparam to go in isoparam, control vertex, you say to go into control vertex, hull to go in hull, surface UV, and go in surface, surface point. These are the commands for this. Now, I didn't go through all the commands in here. You can say select all, and you can say deselect all. You can say select hierarchy, you can say invert selection. But I don't think I didn't go through all of these. I did go through the most commonly used one. And you can say select similar, you can say make live. I might have gone through these, I'm not 100% sure. But I do know make live works. I did make live and select similar. And select similar options and these. So I know they're in there. And so that's how you find these different commands. I didn't go through all these, although most of these, or pretty much all of them, are up here. But if there are some stuff in the hot boxes that aren't underneath these menus, then it's not in Genie Voice Command. I've never really used these hot boxes very much. Just never got into them. I know many people swear by them, and I'm sure they're awesome. I was going to use the F word there for a second. Effing option. Effing awesome. So I'm sure they're great. You can say play to make this play. You can say pause to make it pause. You could say perspective or reset. Oh, that's another one. Okay. You can say frame selection, which is the same as that, and to get back out, you would say reset, and it would reset it. It used to be that we used to have Viewport 2.0 doesn't have the view cube, which really upsets me because I use the view cube all the time. There's a little bit of a home button over here that used to reset the scene when you click on it. Without the view cube, you don't have that little home button here, and it's buried somewhere in some menu somewhere that I haven't been able to find. But I use the Genie Voice Command all the time, so I just say the word reset. I don't even think about it. Reset, and it resets the scene. You can say previous camera, next camera, which are all in here. At least I believe they're in here. Aren't they in here? Previous camera, next camera. I think they're in here somewhere. But yeah, you can say all these, and like say, you say previous camera and next camera, and it will go to the different ones. And so and yeah, and you have these up here, you know, you can say all these, you know, to get these, which these are basically just these in the tool settings. Let's see. So that's basically it. I think I've covered most of it. Like I say, I am going to make another video going over the exceptions to the rules. Oh, and as far as sometimes now I can't think of a particular instance off the top of my head, but if it's not blend shape, you know, it would, and since this is under a subheading of paint weights, it would, it's just blend shape, I'm pretty sure. But if it's not blend shape when you say it, it doesn't work, and it doesn't work when you say blend shape options, most likely it would be the name of the subset that it's under. So this is under paint weights, so it would be paint weights cluster, you know, which is a good idea, and I wish I had gone through and found an appropriate example before I started this video, but I forgot. So let's see, cluster. Nope, it's there. Cluster. Oh, and here's paint weights clusters. Paint weights cluster. So this cluster might be different than this cluster. I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, there's over 5,000 of them. But here it is, paint weights cluster. Paint weights cluster options. So it's either going to be the name of the menu, since these all aren't under submenus, so it'd be either under the name of the menu and then the word, or the wording of the command, you know, that labeled here, or it's going to be if it's in the sub heading, it would be that. Let's see. So, and then if it's in, well, here's a good one. Okay, and this is a good one. Here we go. See these two cluster and cluster. Which one is it? So, prune membership cluster. And here it is, prune membership cluster. So that's a great example of, you know, it's in means two different things. I think, pretty sure. It means two different things. You know, they do two different things. So, they have to be named different. And so this is prune membership cluster, which is prune membership cluster. So if you tear it off, you know that's the name of this menu. So that's really important. So if you're looking for it, or like I said, if you weren't sure but you knew it was cluster, you can type in cluster and you can kind of go through these and go, okay, no, it's not paint. That's not paint weight cluster. You know, it's not that. It's a prune something, and you can either type in prune or, you know, or it's membership cluster or something like that. And you can type in here and then look. You know, oh, there it is, membership. Oh, prune membership cluster. Okay, that's it. I'm starting to lose my voice. I've been talking so long. Okay, so let's see. Anything else? To create a material, it's just create Lambert, you know, what is it, add new material? Yeah. So to create a material, it's just create Lambert, you know, create foam, you know, create blend, you know, so if you're creating different types of material, you just say create and then the word. So, so creating Lambert is really easy, you know, and it's basically always going to be you're assigning a new material. When you say create Lambert, it's going to be a brand new Lambert. I can't know what materials you're going to have created or what you're going to name them, so I couldn't do this. or this. Let's see. You can say hypershade and you get the hypershade. Hotkey editor, say hotkey editor, you get the hotkey editor. Preferences, get preferences. Plugin manager, you get plugin manager. So it's very fast. So, okay, I think that's about it. We're coming close to an hour. It seems like a lot, but it really isn't once you start to actually using Genie Voice Command. I bet you already know hundreds of commands just off the top of your head. Just try to do the commands. I recommend just trying to do the commands that you use most often. So if you find yourself coming all the time to the same menu and doing the same merge, 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 all the time, and you're going, oh, yeah, I do merge all the time, don't I? Or merge to center all the time. Maybe I should just say merge, and try it, and then you'll train yourself to say, oh, yeah, it's so much easier just to say merge than to, oh, I happen to be in the rigging, oh, now I gotta switch to the modeling, okay, now I gotta switch to here, okay, where was that merge, oh, there it is, you can just say merge, and it's done, trying to think, anything else that you use often, center pivot, so say you, move the pivot point, if you want to center the pivot, just say center pivot, and it will go boom, right back there. So center pivot, that's one of these ones that are hidden somewhere that I remember taking forever to find it and can never find it again. I'm sure I could do find menu. Center pivot. Modify center pivot. There it is. Okay. I always overlook it, and I think I had it in a different place at one point in older versions of Maya. It used to always drive me crazy trying to find it. Or maybe I just had a mental block about it. You get a mental block about something. I know I won't be able to remember where it's at, and then you can't remember where it's at. Yeah, that's basically it. If you made it the whole 57 minutes and 30 seconds, congratulations. But hopefully it will be a lot easier to learn and use than sitting through this video and listening to me umming my way through it. Yeah, thank you so much again for buying Genie Voice Command. And I really hope and believe that this will help you and really will make your workload a lot less and make your work go by a lot faster so that you can concentrate on doing the fun stuff, which is actually creating the mesh and not have to do the drudgery of having to always click, on all these different menus all the time. You can just want to merge two vertices together, select two vertices and just say merge. I was going to say merge. Say merge. And so great. So hopefully you might want to take a break. I know I am before you get onto the exceptions video. There's not a whole bunch of, hopefully you'll just be a 10 or 15 minute video, I hope. And have a great day. And again, thank you for buying Genie Voice Command.